Hello and welcome back to Farming Simulator 25 with me, Daddy Jokey, and we are here at the site of my screw up. In the previous episode, we went and we put oats into our two big fields that we acquired. Well, this one I guess is not really new acquisition. We put oats into here, and we didn't need to put any fertilizer because it was already done. But when I put oats into my 345 big field, I forgot that it wasn't fertilized. It just didn't click for me, and so I forgot to put fertilizer in here using my seed drill. Meaning, now, if I had not forgotten, this would have been at the same state as the field next to it, as field number 2, and all we would have to do is just come in with a sprayer and spray some fertilizer on it. Instead, we're gonna have to figure that out as we go. Also, both of our fields are covered in weeds, so we're gonna have to herbicide that later as well. So there's gonna be a bunch of spraying. But before we get to all of that, I'm gonna quickly slow down the time to half time. And because I want to go over a couple mods that I have added, and I add them kind of as they come out because, you know, I'm waiting for some of them. So in the previous episode I mentioned follow me. That one I can't really show you all that easily, although I guess I could. But basically what it means is we can now like command the worker to follow us in a vehicle. So for instance, we could hop into our truck, and if we wanted our tractor to follow us someplace, we could have the worker follow the truck. We can set the distance. We can even do an offset, which makes it great for stuff like you know, underway overloading of grain during harvests. It's a great mod. I always have it. I always use it. It is awesome. But today the mods that I have added are actually, I only really remember one of them, and the one that I'm excited about. I want to try it out. I'm not necessarily saying I'm going to keep it because I don't know if I'm going to like it. But if we go to here, right? Let's say, oh man, I want to buy a new tractor. Okay, let's say I want to buy this Deutschfahr. Great tractor. Don't have 103,500 though, so I can't buy it. Not enough money. And it's gonna, I mean, to be honest, you know, this is kind of a bad example because this is, you know, it doesn't take that much effort to get $100,000 in this game, but you know, we don't have the money. We can't buy the tractor. So this mod introduces financing. Right down here you can see X for financing. Now what this mod does is introduce a sort of a more realistic, I guess you could say, way of purchasing vehicles. Instead of being like, yeah, I want a tractor, here's $100,000. We can go here into financing and we can see if we can finance that vehicle for 6, 12, or 24 months. As you can see, the interest rates are higher for longer financing applications. So for instance, for 6 months at 2% financing, we would need $17,595 a month. At 1 year, 5% financing, $9,000 a month, give or take. And at a 2-year financing, we would pay 10% over, you know, interest, but it would only cost us $4,700 a month, right? And it does go as far as, you know, if you don't have that money, they will repossess that vehicle at the end. And so I guess you could cheese it, but then again, you can cheese everything in this game, so I don't see why you would. You know, if you want to play this kind of realistically, this is a great mod. And so I'm looking forward to trying this out because this can potentially enable us to buy a lot of vehicles that we might not be otherwise able to, otherwise unless they come on sale in the used vehicle sale. So yeah, so that's exciting. There are a couple other mods, but honestly I just forgot what they all were. There is one that I'm looking at and I'm not sure I want to do it. I want to test it out first, and it is a mod that's called something like enhanced weather or realistic weather or something along the lines of that, which basically makes extreme weather events more extreme. So for instance, you could have like a super dense fog where you can't see anything. Or you could have a really bad hailstorm that just like wrecks the farm and damages anything, like implements that are left outside, and tractors and vehicles are damaged if they're not undercover, and all that. I don't know if it will hurt animals. I hope not, because that would make this particular style of pasture kind of useless with that mod. But you know, it is something to consider. However, what I don't know is if that mod actually is something that I want to deal with. It seems to introduce a lot of other hazards, which are more realistic, but also not, in the sense that, for instance, you could have an extreme drought and your crops could wither because they don't have the moisture. There is like a moisture meter, I guess you can say, that is introduced in that mod, and each crop has a optimal moisture level at which it grows, you know, well. And if you're above it, it's not good. If you're below it, it's not good. Either way, it could really hurt you, which is great. It could introduce that sort of variable, you know, that farmers have to deal with. You know, you planted a field of canola, then it was wet all summer, and now you have nothing. You know, it's a thing. But unfortunately, it doesn't offer crop insurance, and so it, you know, there would be no way for us to mitigate the loss. And also, there is no... what is the word I'm looking for? There is no satisfaction. No. No, there's no watering. So for instance, you know, if you're a farmer and it is too dry, you have options. You can try to irrigate your crops, right? In the United States, there's a lot of, at least in these parts, there's a lot of like center pivot irrigation devices, etc. In Europe, a lot of farmers use these like, you can deploy a spout into the field, and then it rotates the hose and retracts and waters your field, and so you can do a lot of that. But the game currently doesn't support that, and so I don't really want to have to deal with something like drought without having any way of actually overcoming that. Now, I don't know if maybe you can just hook a sprayer up with a bunch of water and use that to hydrate your crops. But either way, that doesn't sound like fun. I already don't have enough time in my life to, you know, be getting on with. So I don't really want to add something extra to it that will just increase... What is happening? Oh, I accidentally unfolded the thing. What I meant to do was lift it. That was dumb. Okay. It could have been bad. I do wonder if the device itself has like a safety thing where if the arms start meeting resistance, they actually stop extending so that nothing gets broken and damaged. Okay, let's refill the sprayer with liquid fertilizer. I'm gonna have to back up a little bit more. So that one had nothing. That should have used up... I don't know why I closed this. That should have used up both of those. So we are in a bit of a pickle in that we will need to buy liquid fertilizer. However, the problem, or it's not really a problem, but the issue that I'm having currently is that we do need a lot of liquid fertilizer. And I don't know that we will have enough, if that makes any sense. Well, we will have enough money, I guess, to buy it. I just mean... it'll cost us a lot, and I don't know how many we need, right? Because we need to hit this field and this field, and this field we need to hit twice. So really, it's 1, 2, 3 fields that need to be fertilized. And yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hedge my bet, and I'm going to buy, not herbicide, liquid fertilizer times 3. So this is a lot, and you can finance this? No, you can't. Okay, it only works for vehicles. Makes sense because it's not like they can repossess, you know, fertilizer. Do I want to? No, we will go and bring it back to the farm, and actually we will put the time back onto 5x. There we go. Now we're all set to not talking about mods, and I'm just gonna go and pick it up. We're not gonna do any kind of time lapse or nonsense about that. So I'll be back when I'm back. Okay, and we are back. and well, almost back. And I actually started a little bit earlier because I realized what those other mods were that I downloaded. So first things first is there has been a development in everybody's least favorite feature slash bug slash developers not giving a toss, and that is, watch this, check this out. You see this? You see this? You see the gap in the fence? No, you don't, because there is a mod now that sorts out the whole area restricted nonsense, at least as far as fences are concerned. So I was able to place this gate right here. Great. And cover up that hole in the fence. It is available on Mod Hub. It's called something like... actually, I don't know what it's called, but you can find it easily. Just look in the gameplay section of mods and you will find it, no doubt. The other mod that I downloaded, and that one is kind of controversial in my opinion, is a mod that fixes, or I guess not fixes is a problematic word to use. It freezes commodity prices. So whereas before, if you harvest your field, right, and then you're like, oh, when am I gonna sell my wheat based on the seasonal demand, that takes that out of equation, and it basically freezes prices for all the commodities at a certain level. I don't know what the level is, and that's why I'm kind of like, it could be a little bit controversial in that I forgot to put care tires on my tractor, in that it could be considered like, you know, cheesing it a little bit. You're making it a little bit easier on yourself, but I'm justifying it like this, right? We have a world economy these days. We don't have necessarily seasonal fluctuations such as the way they portray them in Farming Simulator. Actually, nope, we don't want to have the bloody plate on it. And oh, disclaimer, I don't know that for sure. I'm not a farmer. I don't have to sell commodities, but it is my understanding that you generally know what the prices are, and they don't necessarily fluctuate seasonally. They fluctuate more with supply and demand, I would imagine. So something like, you know, oh, that's the wrong side. If there was too much soybean shipped to China, maybe China won't be willing to pay so much for soybean, and so that price will go down, kind of deal. Rather than, you know, oh, it's March, so soybean is at its maximum, right? Like, I always found that to be a little bit arbitrary and a little bit annoying, so I installed a mod that froze the prices. So if we quickly pop on over here, and I haven't had the mod long enough for the graphs to be fixed, right? So right now you still see the graph as it was before, but after a year, I installed it at the end of March, I think. So March year 4, we should see the graph even out and just be straight line, more or less. It'll still fluctuate, you know, by $1 or $2 here and there, because the game kind of forces that function on everything. It is something that just has to happen in the game. The fluctuations need to be there. Oh shit, sorry, post truck. Ooh, we almost just had a car accident. Bad times. Bad form from me too. But so that's a mod, and that's another mod that I'm kind of like, we'll test it out, we'll see if we like it, and we can always take it off, and we can always not use it in the future. Tell me that I can drive into there with the care wheels. Yes, I can. Lovely jubbly. Okay, let's spread out the sprayer, and while that's doing the thing, let's turn on a steering assist. Yes, we're right over there. Alrighty. So, we'll actually aimify it a little bit like so. And then we're gonna hit go, hit B, and then hit H. And we did miss that little corner over there, and I just don't care. The corners on fields are problematic as it is, and so I'm not really overly concerned about that. We'll just go around, and I will eventually, I think I will time-lapse it. I just want to quickly keep talking about the mods, and then we'll probably time-lapse the other field. So yeah, so these are the kind of 3 mods that I have downloaded the most recently. As I said, we will kind of explore them. I suspect I won't use that financing mod as much as I think I might, because on the one hand it sounds super useful, but on the other hand, the money that is required monthly is still pretty significant. Like at 2 years we would be required to have, you know, 4,700 on hand for that tractor in the example I was showing. And from experience, you know, from if you've watched some and or all of my videos in this series, you will know that that's just not been the case, right? Like there are months where we are pretty strapped for cash. What is happening? Why is this thing not going? We're wasting fertilizer. So you know, so I'm not necessarily of the opinion that it's going to be as useful as it may seem, and so I might get rid of it eventually, just in the interest of trimming down the amount of mods that the game has to load. But the price mod is definitely interesting. What it does seem like, though, is that it essentially gives you the best price available at your difficulty level, which is where my concern about sort of cheesiness comes in. But then I consider that, you know, it just takes away that waiting game where we're like, okay, we're gonna sell our carrots in March because carrots in March are the best carrots or whatever, right? So it just takes away that kind of seasonal sort of just sitting on your crops instead of doing something with your crops, I guess. It begs the question of why do you even have silos then if you just cart it straight to the sell point. But that, you know, that is some kind of, that is a different argument for a different time. Okay, here we go. That part is done. Should be able to hit the next bit here. Turn that on. Hope that we haven't missed anything. Let me check real quickly. Yeah, no, we got it. We got it, dudes. But yeah, so there you have it. Fun times, eh? The mods, the mod that I'm still missing, and that is a mod that is absolutely preventing me from doing, you know, starting any kind of like role-playing series, is the manual attach mod. I am unwilling to, or not unwilling, I'm playing the game as it is right now, but it is a mod that I basically use every time I play Farming Simulator, and so I am not going to start, you know, anything where I'm like, yeah, let's roleplay this, when I still can't attach things manually to my tractors. Cover it? Yeah, we got it. Alright, so yeah, so I'm gonna finish this in real time because there isn't a lot of spraying left on this field, but then we're definitely gonna go and do either a time lapse or just like a time skip. I don't know. I have a problematic relationship with time lapses because whenever I watch something and there's a time lapse, if it has engaging tune, I'm really not there to watch the time lapse. I'm more of like jamming out with it, if that makes sense. But you know, feel free to leave a comment what you think about time lapses. You know, where are you? Do you prefer time lapses over time skips, or you know, if it's something as repetitive and just driving up and down a field, do you prefer the time skip just does the thing and then you don't have to watch the whole thing? Or you know, where are you on this? Let me know. Yeah, there we go. This field is a little bit dodgy when it comes to the lines, because then it leaves this little chunk right here that is kind of a problem to deal with. But luckily we can reduce the width, the working width of the sprayer, and do that. I also wish that we could turn off sides, because that would be really ideal for this part where we need to spray on the right but definitely not on the left. Bam, turn that off. Turn it off. Come on. Here we go. And then we'll just turn around, head back, and then we just need to hit up that chunk. And I think in order to do that, we're going to hit 1, 2, We might even get away with 3, but I don't want to have to come back again. And so we'll do a little bit of crap. We'll do a little bit of overspray in order to avoid having to come back. We might still miss a little chunk on our right there. We did not. Lovely. Okay, turn that off. And then, you know what, just for the sake of completing it, and because theoretically if we had tram lines, we would have an exit out of the field right here, so we would have to drive there anyway. I'm gonna go ahead and hit up the corner real quick. Spray on, spray off. Bam, and except for like a tiny chunk over to my left there, we have covered the whole thing. Alright, fold it up, and we have used about 46%. It was not a what's the word I'm looking for? It was not an optimal job. We did have a little bit of wastage, so I think in the future, counting 1/2 of this tank as the you know, how much fertilizer do we need for this field, essentially meaning we will need 1 fill up of this for 2 layers of fertilization. However, that leaves this field done, and now we just have to do this. So that's what we're gonna do. And I know in the previous episode I talked about not dealing with this little chunk over here, but I'm thinking since we already have the sprayer mounted and we had to buy extras, I might just go down there and, you know, do a run over it. It'll be just a tiny bit extra, and I think it's just gonna be good. So actually, let's go and do that, and that way we get to refill our sprayer and start with 100% on this field. And then we're gonna hit a time lapse, or yeah, probably time lapse. Actually, here's the thing too. Spraying time lapses are pretty easy to do because the spraying itself doesn't take that long to do. And so, you know, on the editing side of things, for me, it's literally just like select the clip, speed it up by 3.5, put a song over it, Bob's your uncle. What really does me in is when I have to then actually go and, you know, cut down 45 minutes of footage into 3.5 minutes and put a song over it. That is where it kind of gets a little bit difficult, I guess. Not insofar as me not being able to do it, but insofar as it taking a little bit longer and having to pay a little bit more time to, a little bit more attention to it than what I necessarily want to. Let's reduce the working width to this. That should be plenty. And then we'll just power it up and just drive right through here. We can clearly see where the fertilization needs to happen because of all the weeds. So that's actually kind of helpful right here. And yeah, we're hitting it spot on. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, you know, time lapses, it's a complicated thing. I remember, you know, watching, it also all depends on how much time and attention you have, right? Like, I remember watching Daggerwin's videos way back in the day, and pretty much if the time lapse was too long, I just kind of scrubbed through it, like pretty much universally. And so I don't know, you know, like the only time, yeah, I don't know. It's a complicated thing because then you're risking, you know, missing out on something, or you might have to scrub back because you scrubbed too far. Things like that I'm just like, well, you know, I don't know. But so if you're watching my video, if you're hearing this little circle ramble, hit up the comment sections and tell me, do you like time lapses? Do you watch the time lapses? Do you prefer fade to black? Do you prefer a kind of a montage where it is a time lapse but it is cut down to be reasonable, you know, 4-minute stops rather than, you know, being 45-minute job cut down to 10 minutes because that's still a lot of time, right? And I know thanks to TikTok and stuff, our attention span as society has dwindled to basically 8 seconds. Ooh, I almost just smashed my tractor into the back of the trailer. I mean, truck. Okay, we've got that. And so then we're gonna go up to here. we'll start the time lapse. And as you can see, game time, this has taken us like an hour and a half so far, considering that we even had to go to the shop to get a refill. So, you know, spraying, it's like I said, it's the least objectionable of all the jobs. Yes. Unfold. But yeah, do we need the beacons? Probably not. Nobody comes through here, and I don't know what the rules are in the United States about unfolding, you know, farming implements over a road. But since this road doesn't go to anywhere, probably not too big of a deal. Like I said, the policing in this county is not on point. So, hit that, and hit that, and let's go. Let's check out. Yeah, that should be, it'll be a little bit over, but it is what it is. So this is going to be the first layer on this field. We will have to do that again one more time in the future. It is unfortunate because we have that solid fertilizer just sitting in there. But anyway, I'll shut up and put some music on. So hope you enjoy that. Alright, well that's that for this time lapse. There was a little bit of a struggle finding the actual lines over there at the head of the field. Yeah, something that would be really easily remedied if we had tram lines, but we don't, so it was a struggle. I could select that option to show the virtual lines, but they just make the game look so ugly when it's on. I just can't help myself not liking that too much. I wish there was some kind of different UI that could be implemented into that. But that's pretty much all the major jobs that are on the farm. I have to sell some eggs, and all the veg over there is all done. But I think that's pretty much it. That's pretty much everything I had for this episode. Unless you can think of anything else. And if you can, leave a comment, because not like you can tell me right now anyway. But yeah, so here we go. We fertilized the field. It's unfortunate we're going to have to do that again. It would have been great if I hadn't messed that up. But we will have to deal with weeds, so the sprayer will have to come out there again anyway. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So let me know in the comments all the things I asked you to let me know. Where do you stand on the mods? Where do you stand on time lapses, and we'll take it from there, eh? As for now, I thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you come back. Feel free to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!